Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BLB. This is a different kind of BLB. As you can tell, we're not the same people here. I've replaced Abram finally with two more competent individuals, Tanner and Timo, here to talk to me about video games. This is our weekly video game podcast, and it's gonna be a little bit different this time because these two are here, and we've got a couple interesting topics to talk about. So, I'm gonna throw it over to one of you guys.
Oh, to start.
What games did you guys play this past week?
Timo, would you like to go first?
I will go first because I just got my Steam library and the new Steam thing because I'm a PC gamer scrub. They have the list of whatchamacallit. They have the list of like most recent games that you've played. And so there's 5 of them from, recently or so that I played. So starting from least recent, I played Rocket League. I really like playing Rocket League. It's really fun.
Little indie game you might not have heard of.
Yeah, it's a little indie game by a little indie developer called Epic Games. It pisses me off a lot, so I really don't play that much at a time. I just play like 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm like, I hate this game, and I stop playing it until the next day.
I've heard plenty of Timo Rage compilations, essentially through Rocket League. It's not something that I've gotten into myself. That sort of round-based nature, it's just very similar to me. Like it's just a little bit too repetitive. But I certainly have a lot of respect for the game, and it's gone far.
It's not about like the repetitiveness. It's the same thing. It's like I literally am becoming better at a sport. That's what it's like. It's like I have mechanics, I have tactics, I have like team play that I work on, and like I'm like, okay, I am physically better able to execute some like a air roll, flip, reset type thing to score a goal. And it's more about like the personal growth and all that stuff, which is I find is fun. And then I just get pissed and get low ranked, and then I'm like, screw personal growth. I have rage uninstalled this game a couple times before, where I've gotten so mad that I just boom, gone.
Really? And
yeah.
How long does it usually take to reinstall it?
That's a good question.
I took a legitimate
3-day break.
3 days,
72 hours.
I took a 2-year break from the game actually.
Holy
wow. Shit. All that personal growth, all that skill you built up.
Back to square zero, bitch.
Yeah.
None of it went away during my break.
I came back to lose.
I'm always.
I came back and I was as good as ever, and then with a little bit more practice, I was actually better. There were some things that I just wasn't able to get, and I quickly, I was at my skill ceiling, and then I took a 2-year break because I actually used to play Rocket League for the high school. I was one of the founding members of the esports club at the high school. And I set up and was like the team manager for the Rocket League team. I was the worst player on it, but I organized the better players to play. And then we would go and play tournaments and lose. And it was pretty fun.
Nice.
Okay, so to transition off of games that you get pissed off and stop playing and stuff, I restarted Bloodborne this week. And anyone who knows me,
nice.
I am not a hard games guy. I play everything on the easiest difficulty. I have no problems putting it on easy mode, cheating if I need to. I cheesed Skyrim so hard. But one game you cannot cheese, From Software games, including Bloodborne, in which you just have to get better at the game. And I played, I think, almost 11 hours in 2 days. So that was a lot of that game.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I got a lot farther than I have.
Is your psyche okay? Is your psyche? How's it doing?
Yeah, how's your mental health right now?
So here's the thing. I wasn't finding it as frustrating as I usually do. And I also had my friend Joe help me out along the way. You can summon someone else into your world, and they can help you take down bosses and stuff like that. So he helped me out a couple times, but I think the game is great. I like the world design. I love the art. I love the lore. I think the combat is cool. All the concepts are great. I am just reaching a point in which the idea of dying, losing all your shit, and having to go through the exact same areas over and over again with no change, unless you upgrade yourself, which is sort of a rarity at the point that of the game I'm at, it's just not compelling. I'm not in the mindset enough of From Software, of difficult games, to really want to push through and get better. And I'm not mechanically adept enough at the game to get that much better. So I don't know. I don't mind dying and having to try again, but the checkpoints are so spaced out that if you stub your fucking toe on a rock near the boss, you have to go through the entire area again and rebeat all of the enemies, and you lose all your shit if you die a second time. And it's just it's that aspect of it that really frustrates me.
Did you think about playing a another From game like Sekiro or
Sekiro? I don't know that much about. I know it's plenty different from the other ones, but I also know Bloodborne is quote unquote the easiest of them, and the Dark Souls games are a lot more punishing in terms of their.
And then are you gonna pick up Demon Souls? I've heard that one isn't so difficult. It's that's what I heard about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a try because I have access to it for free. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And it's certainly possible that I enjoy it and want to push forward. Now that I've had a taste with Bloodborne, and I'll probably go back to Bloodborne and try a new area and stuff like that. But there's a lot of the game that is incredibly engaging. Exploring the maps, which are really intricately designed, and like areas connect back, and you can unlock gates, which allow you to easily get to later areas. It's really well designed, and I have a lot of respect for it. I had a long conversation with Joe about this, but I just wish there was some way to boost yourself, to turn on a little bit of an easy mode, or give yourself a little bit of extra health, some way to, because I want to experience the story, I want to experience the maps, I want to see the bosses, I want to see all this, but I don't enjoy it feeling so repetitive, because if you die, you have to play through the entire area again, and it's just. He gave pretty compelling reasons why FromSoft doesn't do that, but I just think that it would be able to be enjoyed by so many more people if they gave a little bit of accessibility options. And at the moment, there's just not any.
I mean, I think that's just the games they develop, right? That's their studio style. They just want to make you cry and try to throw your controller at the TV.
They're not going to make a Bloodborne or a Souls game for babies like you, Tucker.
Well, I wish they would. That would be fucking great. I would buy that shit, because
Baby Souls,
Baby Souls,
talented studio. I mean, the
they do great stuff,
and the boss design and all of that is fucking incredible. I just wish there was ways for people who want to slam their head against things to experience more of the game.
You want a Super Weenie Hut Junior mode?
Yes, please. Baby ass baby mode.
If they charged more, if they made you pay $6 for the Super Weenie Hut Junior mode, would you buy it?
Well, yeah, because I got Bloodborne for probably $15 used, so extra $6 is nothing. And honestly, to experience more of the game, 100%. Yeah.
Sure.
Let's start with Tanner. Tanner, what did you play this week?
I've been playing some Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
Because it's up for Game of the Year. I thought I want to give it
just won a Player's Choice Award.
Oh, nice.
The vote is done, and Last of Us Part 2 was leading at the beginning by 13 points, and I think enough people who hate Last of Us 2,
the Twitter haters, they mobilized.
They mobilized, and they got Ghost of Tsushima to win. So I have nothing against that. I wish Last of Us Part 2 had won, but you know what? It's fine.
I wanted to play one of the nominees before the actual ceremony, so I could at least have a valid opinion to some extent. So I selected Ghost of Tsushima, and it's all right, I guess. I mean, maybe I'm just not in the right headspace right now, just because I'm like, you know what, I should play before I sink all of my time into Cyberpunk. Ghost of Tsushima, because
isn't it really long too?
45 hours maybe.
Yeah. It's very all encompassing. There's a lot of it's more of a it's more of an occupation than I was maybe expecting it to be when I got into it, because I haven't been exploring the world very much at all, and I already have like 4 different like side story quests and then the main story, and then I've only explored maybe like here's a fun thing. So I was looking at the map. I'm like, okay, so I've basically explored all of this area. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to zoom out and kind of see what's up. And I zoom out, and I failed to realize there's an entire other island that like shoots off once you progress past a part in the main story. So it's a very daunting game. I'll give it that. Sure. And it's just kind of sunk my spirits a little bit. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I wasn't super invested to begin with, and
Sure.
seeing how much there is to tackle in it, even if you just want to tackle like the main story and some side quests, is a little disheartening. I'll be honest.
It's not a game to play casually on your Friday nights.
No, it is not. It's very much an investment.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game. Like I said, it's okay. That's like the main problem I have with it. I'm sure once I progress in the game and I unlock all the stances that you can have with your styles of fighting, it'd be very interesting to mix those up in combat. But the combat's it's entertaining. You know, it's as entertaining as I think like a samurai game of that stature can be. It's always fun to do like this standoff mechanic, and I recently got a skill where like you can link your standoff kill to another one, so that's fun. And like I said, I think what the new stance is, it'll spice up combat some more, but it does get a little repetitive. And like with a lot of open world games, it's a lot about like taking back outposts and finding these 50 collectible things that are in the world and talking to people. There's like a dozen people in a village you can talk to, and they all give you new side quests. So perhaps it wasn't the best game to get into as like an interim game before Cyberpunk, but
hey, we all did it. I got an interim game last night.
Oh, okay.
That I've been playing the hell out of, and I want to talk about, but it's my most.
So maybe
recent.
maybe this wasn't like the most in-depth, like loving adoration review of Ghost of Tsushima, but it's what my experience with it has been. My second game that I have to talk about is a better interim game, but we'll get to that.
I just want to comment on that. I find it pretty interesting that you started it a couple days before a game that you're really excited for. That I don't think that was proper timing.
No, absolutely not.
And this game came out in the summer when there really wasn't too much coming out around it. I mean, we had already hit the Animal Crossing, Persona, Ori, Doom, like that whole spring.
Yeah, the spring gauntlet.
Summer, summer was, Last of Us 2, or no, Ghost launched just a couple weeks before Last of Us, or vice versa. It was close, but the two of them, sort of, one's more linear and shorter, and one's a little more open. So I think they complement each other nicely. But yeah, it's not great timing for that game. But I do find it interesting that this kind of thing didn't grab you, because I know you've been an open world guy in the past.
I do like open world games, but it was just a bit daunting, like I said.
If I owned a PlayStation, I probably would have picked it up, because I really love those type of games.
Yeah.
But I just kind of hard to. I'll probably maybe think about it. Maybe get a couple of those story games on PlayStation, like Horizon Zero Dawn and Ghost of Tsushima at the same time, and play them both or something. But we have something looming on our horizon that's got my full gaming attention right now. So,
and like I said to Tucker, I'll probably shelve it once Cyberpunk comes out, and I'll come back to it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So, Timo, what other games are on your list?
Well, I can rattle off a couple of them because I really didn't play them that much. I played Apex Legends. That's the multiplayer game, the multiplayer that with friends game that I've been playing a lot. It's really fun. I'm like the highest level out of all my friends. I have like 150 hours or something in it. So I don't know, just pew 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 shoot. Use abilities. It's fun. It's the best. It's the best battle royale there is. So
wow, big call.
I've played them all. So not them all, but I've played PUBG, Fortnite, and Apex, which are your three that matter.
Yeah.
And
the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, as you might say.
Yeah. And while I would say that PUBG is the father and Fortnite is the son, Apex Legends really is the Holy Spirit, because it is the most fun. It's quick. It's got abilities, and it's kind of cartoony in some aspects, but it's not like Fortnite, which is like kid bait, and you still get some epic moments where you shoot and kill people in glory, and
Apex,
it gets that heart beating so good.
Does Apex have like I don't know who's the new hot character right now that they would put it into Fortnite?
No, they don't have any crossover, because it's
like
Titan.
Thanos. Who did they put in recently? It was something
Master Chief and
Kratos,
Luigi's.
Oh, Kratos, that's
like
right.
that.
What the fuck did you just say, Timo?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting to see crossover characters. I mean, they could do like what's the support robot guy who's kind of like Chappie?
Chappie
from Apex.
Oh, Pathfinder.
Pathfinder, yes, Pathfinder. Yeah, I mean that's an easy skin to put in. Or who's the funny make a clone of yourself guy who
Mirage, who's
Mirage.
those
are characters that could easily be skins in Fortnite. And I want to say I would not surprise me too much if they somehow got that in the future.
Yeah, well, they are kind of competitors, but Apex is in the Titanfall universe. It's a couple hundred years after the Titanfall 2, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Lore-wise. And there's actually like lore, and they add to it, and it came out a long time ago, and they've still added it. They just released it on Steam, and there's a new map and a new character, and it's good and fun. And then just I played a single round of a RTS. I was hanging out with some boys last night on Discord, and they're like, "Hey, you want to play some Planetary Annihilation, a game from 2014?"
PA Tit? Is it Titan?
Nope.
Oh,
no Titan.
Okay, I've only played PA Tit.
Pennsylvania Tit.
I only own Planetary Annihilation, but there's a bit of problem because only Titans is available on the store. But since Planetary Annihilation, the base game, isn't on the Steam store, Steam doesn't recognize me as already owning like most of the value of Planetary Annihilation's Titans. So it's $30. So it's just like, no, we're not. We're gonna play regular.
Oh, is Titans an expansion?
It's like a expansion, but it's like a standalone. But if you owned the game when it was out, you could like get it for cheaper and like. Well, I didn't because I don't really like RTSs that much, but it was, a bit of a nostalgia. It was pretty fun. And then to lead up to my biggest one, I got back into City Builders this week.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I love City Builders. I've been playing and like City Builders Tycoon management, like Sims, that kind of stuff. So I got into City Skyline for a little while. I was trying to build a new city, just get some cool stuff. I'm like not that great at it, and I play on unlimited money because I just want to be creative in the city. Yeah. So it's I tend to cripple my enjoyment by like I watch YouTubers who play City Skylines and build like incredible, like one dude's recreating Springfield from The Simpsons in City Skylines. Cool. And so like my bar for what's good in the game, like creatively and like design wise, is so freaking high that I like play for a couple days and I'm like, yeah, I suck at this game. I still have like over 70 hours in it though, just because it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with that genre is what you've seen from me playing SimCity 4, which I did have a good time with, but that completely dropped off. I mean, it's something that I think you need to like really get into the mechanics of to put the full enjoyment of. And I just don't have the time for that. You got another rapid fire?
I don't have another rapid fire. I have another long languid discussion because my top game of the week. You want me to talk about it?
No, let's bop to some other ones.
We'll save it.
We're gonna bop to. I'm a rapid fire 2, and then I have another big one. So we've got a nice pattern going on here. So rapid fire 2. As soon as I finished recording last week's episode of BLB, Abram and I stayed on Discord for a while he was editing and we were doing stuff, and I started the Spyro the Dragon in the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Now, I don't have that much to say about it. I'm sure you guys don't. I played. Really, no. Quote unquote, I think the first world of it's very strangely structured. It's not like any other 3D platform I've ever played. You like go around and you bring the dragons back to life. And I just got the first balloon guy, which lets you travel to the second world. It's very strange. It's sort of open, but sort of not. I really don't understand it. And I did not grow up with those games. But I was Spyro for Halloween when I was like 7. Which is a throwback. I'm sure my parents have a picture of me. I remember that weird Cosmetics shiny belly, but I just don't know if I want to put more time into the game because the visuals are pleasant to look at, but they're not anything particularly special. The characters are fine, but they're not super memorable. The story is save the dragons and you're spunky little Spyro, and no one like thinks that you can do it because you're such a tiny little guy, but you've got big heart. And I just don't think that I'm gonna really give enough of a shit to push through. But there's enough Spyro games out there that if I wanted to get into the Spyro series, there's like 14 of them, and most of them suck.
I remember at least owning one for the PlayStation 2. Don't ask me which game it was. But then, of course, my only other knowledge of Spyro as a character is in the notorious. I know Tucker doesn't really like it, but Skylanders. I dug Skylanders when I was a kid. Spyro he always stayed in the box of all the characters. He wasn't my go-to character in Skylanders.
Or
Spyro.
I played some Skylanders. He's just a dragon.
I played some Skylanders as a kid, like I think the original one. They made fucking lot of Skylanders games. Let me tell you fucking what.
I'm a Skylanders purist. I only played the first game.
But it's just for me, the collectathon aspect of actually getting the figures wasn't my cup of tea. I mean, I was into Amiibo when that was more of a thing. But also just the platforming in the game in general is so fucking simple, dude.
That was
nothing to those games.
That was a weird period in gaming history when the little statue, the little Amiibo, basically, I guess, was the closest.
Your
word,
NFC
collectible
figures, I think. Yes, the technical.
Disney Infinity,
yeah.
Lego. Imagine it. What's the fuck Lego one? Lego Dimensions. That's what.
Oh
yeah. That one I always thought was super fucking cool because it's like they put Simpsons and Harry Potter and Back to the Future and Portal and like all these fucking crazy series into one game. And I'm like, you know what? This game looks like crap, but I have mad respect for it because it's such a huge crossover.
Yeah.
But I have one other sort of dabbling game. I found my Xbox 360 just sitting on a fucking shelf, and I'm like, what if this thing still works? So I set it up. Xbox 360 controllers, especially the wireless ones, are very weird with battery packs. If the battery packs are like sort of old, and you have to like mash it to like get it to work.
Oh yeah,
remember that.
I would play back in my old days. Before my 2-year break of Rocket League, I used a 360 wireless controller, and the batteries were always on the fritz. They never worked very well.
It's very strange, and I got it set up, and I got one of the controllers working. I have 3 controllers, and only one of them with one combination of battery packs ended up working, which is fucking weird. But as Timo scoops his nuts, I would like to talk about Rayman Origins. One of my favorite games on the Xbox 360 back in the fucking day. Turned out I never got that far. I was looking at the progress that I put into the game, and I beat maybe 3 worlds. But I played a lot about that game because that game really incentivizes collecting. On the world map, you can see how many of the little pink smiley faces you've collected. There's lums to collect. Like it really is a collectathon game, and I think that's what engaged me so much. I did beat Legends when I got that on the Switch, and I played a lot of that in co-op on my friend's Wii U. But Origins is a great fucking game. Rayman is a character that I think deserves a lot more attention than he gets. He's up there with the creativity and world design and moveset potential and everything of all the greatest platforming characters. I'm surprised there hasn't been really a third in this Rayman quote unquote reboot series, because Origins and Legends are fucking fantastic games. So Ubisoft, if you're listening, just give me another fucking Rayman game. It's not that hard. It's not as resource intensive as all the other shit you make.
You don't even have to animate his arms or his legs. So easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah, but I mean, but Rayman's such a charming character, and the characters are fun, and the music's great, and the world design's really creative. Come on, guys. More people should like Rayman.
Okay. I will probably never play a Rayman game, but I'll respect it. Because I respect everything that Tucker loves.
Tanner?
The other game that I played this week is a little bit out of character if you know good old Tanner Dykstra personally. If you know my dreams and my fears, you know that I'm a bit of a severe thalassophobe, which means I have a fear of the deepness and the vastness of the ocean, which is why it's very strange that I decided to pick up Subnautica this week.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really weird. Why did you do that?
Well, let me tell you,
I don't have thalassophobia, but that game freaks me out, man.
I'm not very far in it. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay, you got no Reaper.
I haven't really traveled outside of the maybe like a 400 square meter area. Mostly because I'm still early in the game, and also partly because of my fear. I did try to swim towards the crashed ship because immediately, why wouldn't you try to do that immediately? And there was radiation by the ship, obviously. I'm like, oh, okay. I obviously go back there later. But I was swimming back around, kind of exploring. Yep. And there was a point where, I think I got out of the safe shallows area, as it's called. Yeah. And I kind of got to the edge of that. And that's where I, looked down, and there was just, nothing and blackness. I'm like, we're going to go back the other way. We're going to go back the other way.
Now, here's the fucking question, all right? You're looking at the PlayStation Store, and you didn't get this last week.
This is on Game Pass.
Oh, okay. So it's free, so you didn't actually invest anything in it. Okay.
No.
But so you're looking at Game Pass. We're restarting the conversation. Yes. You look at Xbox Game Pass, which has 150 games, maybe more. And you got your Yakuza, you got all your fucking Microsoft properties, you got all sorts of indie games.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there as a man who hates the fucking ocean.
Yes.
Why'd you choose Subnautica?
Well, I was looking at Game Pass. I was looking through the library that our friend has on her Xbox, and Subnautica was already downloaded.
Yeah, she
so
likes
I'm
that
like,
game.
yeah, there you go. I'm like, you know what? The concept seems cool. It's sort of like a Minecraft but all underwater. I dig it. Okay.
It actually is a fully linear story too. There's like spoilers and stuff for Subnautica.
Huh, I didn't even know that.
It's like a full story.
That.
It's not just like a base building sandbox game. It's like progression, story based.
Yeah. There's a lot more upgrading and like making your base bigger and progression stuff like that.
And like learning about like what's the deal, like there's intrigue and mystery and stuff. I've played a fair amount, not a huge amount. I played before they finished the story, so I probably should revisit it and check it out and have some fun. It freaks me out though. I don't really like horror games. But I own multiple like ocean survival games. That's a genre
good.
That I
was actually gonna bring that up.
I really enjoyed for a couple of years this game Stranded Deep.
I was
which that game is fun. I've played that.
That's a little more Minecrafty.
Yeah. There's less.
Is that the one where you start on the plane and there's a plane crash?
Yeah, and then you go and
that's BioShock.
You build your hut. You build your hut and you kill like a
crab,
a fish or crab,
Uncharted
and then
3.
No, Uncharted 2 is no Uncharted. Wait, yeah,
Uncharted 3 is the plane crash. 2 is the plane. 2 is the train.
Yes,
planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes.
Planes, trains, and jet skis is the trilogy.
Well, there's there's Jeeps in Uncharted 4.
Okay.
There's planes, trains, not. It's actually trains, planes on. Regardless, yeah, this survival ocean genre is surprisingly expensive, and I think Subnautica was the one that sort of started it all. But I've played a Subnautica ripoff called Far Sky, which is really fun. That's a fucking good game. Just build an underwater base, explore. It's a little more Minecrafty, less linear than Subnautica, less horror. But I like that game a lot, and I played Stranded Deep, as Timo said. That's a fun game. But I also played a game called Salt, which is
there's Salt and then there's Raft. Those are two similar games.
Yeah. Salt is like a Stranded Deep that is more piratey, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, this is an interesting genre that doesn't get a huge amount of attention, but there's a lot of fucking people popping in on this trend.
Well, I think if you make a good game, like in Stranded Deep, you're swimming along and then you hear like the whoosh, and that's the sound of the shark passing by. And you're like, whenever I'm playing, my eyes like bug out on my skull and I start freaking out. I'm like, and it's like,
Yeah.
It works. Well, it works. The natural horror of being stuck on a little tiny desert island in the middle of the ocean works really well.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful game. The realistic graphics work really well for it.
Well, also that game is realistic.
Subnautica also during I try not to swim at night because it's scary.
Yeah.
But when I'm traveling back as fast as I can, the luminescence that they have of the alien world underwater, quite beautiful. I have to say.
Yes.
It just intrigued, the Subnautica intrigued me above all those other games because you're stranded on like an alien ocean planet.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Timo, why don't you tell us about your last big game of the week?
So, as I alluded to earlier, I purchased a game last night as my interim game between last night and Cyberpunk, which comes out tomorrow. Which have been waiting for like 5 years or however fucking long this shit's gonna take to come out. But
he's still my beating heart.
The game I bought is in the city builder genre, is in the tycoon management supply chain genre.
Okay.
It is titled Workers and Resources Soviet Republic.
I've never heard of that.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
I found this game while just perusing Steam like a good 6 or 7 months ago, and I was like, this is a huge meme. Like, it's a city builder game, but like it's the Soviet Republic, so like money kind of doesn't exist, and it's like it has all like it's very interesting. And I came back to it last night because I just like remembered it. I was thinking about city builders because I really like
thinking about the Soviet Union.
I wish I'm lying there. I like trains. I really like trains, and I like to have games where I can like make the train lines, and then I can just watch the trains drive around. I like
watch my trains go.
You're a fucking 4-year-old.
Yes, I am.
He's either 4 or he's 87. Who's to say?
Yeah.
I should like to see my trains go.
And so I looked at the store page. They'd updated the game recently, and I was like, you know what? I can't resist. I got to, and I bought it, and I started learning how to play. And that game, holy shit, it's hard. You know how hard it is to run a small socialist Soviet-backed country in like 1960? It's really
it's a whole country. This is not just a city.
It's a whole country sim, but you have individual control over everything.
Sim.
And so you the mechanics wise, there's so many different systems and they're so all interwoven. It's like insane. Because the goal of like the game is to make your country have self-sufficiency. So it produces all its own power, it mines all its own resources. You don't need to import anything because it's got dueling currencies. So like most city sims, you have one, simoleons or crumble lockets or whatever for city skylines.
Crumble lockets.
It's something stupid name like that. It's not dollars in the city skylines. But in this, you've got dollars, dollary dues, and you've got Russian rubles.
Oh, of course.
And you can trade with both of the currencies independently. And so sometimes you can buy goods with rubles and sometimes you buy goods with dollars, and the exchange rates fluctuate based on like a light simulated world economy in the background.
Okay. It's not, and that is influenced by your actions, the economy.
Maybe, but probably not.
Okay.
And so you try to run the country with all this stuff. Like, I don't know, my goal is to not import anything, is to make it all on my own, have the gravel, have the concrete, make my own power, pump my own oil, build my own train, like not even like, everything, do everything so I can make cool trains drive around. But isn't
that a thing that the trains always run on time in Moscow or whatever? Isn't that a saying about history or something?
I have no idea.
I think so.
Well, in my Soviet Socialist Republic, the trains don't work because I'm not good enough at the game and I don't have a solid enough understanding of the systems involved to get beyond power generation, which is the first step.
The trains don't work in Timo's Russia. I think that's what the saying is.
So I know how to get
trains run you
Oh.
in Soviet Russia.
I can get a coal mine going and I can get a power plant running, sort of. I've been struggling to get like the power plant to run all the time because my like people moving in management, and because it's like, it starts with you're an unindustrialized society. Like you literally start with peasants and you have to bring them up to everything, having nuclear power, building your own.
This is communist spore.
Communist
spore.
Yeah, it is. Except they sort of do look like spore creatures, actually.
Oh,
no, the Russians.
That's because of the radiation from your nuclear power plants.
I don't have any radiation. I use good, clean coal power.
Oh, good, clean coal.
Oh, Lord.
But I love this game. It's quirky. It's really, the tutorial is like really funny. You it's like, do this, and then you do it, and it's like, good job, comrade. Lenin would be proud.
Nice. Little bits of encouragement like that.
Yeah, and like, wow, I really want to move on now.
Like, I'd like to pitch right here and right now a fucking weekend stream of us watching you play this game.
Okay.
Maybe we restart the world and I'll work on it together and stuff like that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and because I have a pretty basic understanding. I'm trying to learn how to do agriculture, trying to learn how to go beyond this basic like electrification. Because it's so goddamn complicated. For power, there's high voltage and medium voltage power lines, and you've got to use transformers and substations to split them out and then to distribute like power to houses. And
just licensed by Hasbro with the transformers?
No, it's licensed by the U.S. No, not licensed by the United States. I never trade with NATO in this game. I only trade with just on the borders of the map, like so it's like it's a square map. On two sides is the little NATO symbols to show you that you're trading with the Western world, and then on the other two sides is a little like star with the hammer and sickle in it to say that you're trading with the Soviet bloc. It's maybe the most in-depth city builder that I've played. You don't really like have to do like traffic management and like some of these other stuff like population and like upgrading and that kind of stuff, but I think it really works well in this supply chain. You have to build your train networks, not only but like you have to build the train networks, and you have to make the signals work, and you have to make sure your tracks are all going to the right places, and have like loading and unloading depots, and like make sure that the train can get from, if you're trying to go from this depot to the other one, that it can get there via the tracks and the switchers and the, you know, like that's just one. It's stupidly freaking complicated, which I love. I actually really love being able to sink my teeth in and try to like really figure out how to do it as well, and make like it's kind of, I would almost argue it's more similar to a Factorio or a Satisfactory type game than a City Skylines, even though they're like both technically in the same genre of a city builder. They're just so different in how they actually go about doing it, and it's got a hilariously like stupid sounding soundtrack that's like da, 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 da. It's like
that's fucking
well, I have one more Russia joke before we can move off of this. Can you rewrite history and not make the classic Russian blunder of selling Alaska to President Andrew Johnson? Can you rewrite history and do that?
It's not a Russian game.
I cannot.
Oh, it's not.
It's a Soviet game, not a Russian game.
It's Russia.
It starts in 1960 is the time that you start.
Damn.
It's Russia.
So about 100 years after the irreparable damage done by that dude.
Another thing about the game is that it has good modding support. So like there's a lot of maps and interesting, like people have made like buildings and extra, you're like, well, I would like this specific version of this specific tractor from Czechoslovakia only in production from 1948 to 1962 in my game, and the developers didn't put it in there. So you can mod that in yourself, I guess.
You nerd.
And people have modded it able to like start farther back, and slowly more mods are coming out to like be able to like total convert
from fucking monkeys to real Russians.
To start from like 1800s
Soviet monkeys
to have Soviet monkeys. Yeah,
that's fucking good.
This game, I bought it as a kind of a meme. It was on my wish list as a meme. I love it. I'm gonna play when I need a break from Cyberpunk. I will definitely jump back in this train, or when I need to wait the 2 hours from when I get off work tomorrow and when Cyberpunk comes out. You bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna be building my socialist republic.
Yes.
All right, so let's jump to a similar game. This is this is a weird tangent of communism, Russia, Soviet Republic. You know who doesn't pay their taxes?
Who?
Yoshi. And what I've been playing is Yoshi's Crafted World for Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
That was a terrible transition. But I have been playing Yoshi's Crafted World, and I started it yesterday. It's kind of a feel-good game for me in the situation that I'm in at the moment, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's really collection-based. I mean, there's so many different kinds of collectibles, and you are prompted to want to go through the world multiple times. It's got this aesthetic where everything is made up of like crafts and real-life objects. So there's like all the enemies are made up of yarn and little bits and bobs, and there are in the background you see straws and popsicle sticks and marbles and stuff, and it's really charming in that because you get to like look at everything like, oh wait, it looks like an enemy, but it's actually a fucking lint ball or whatever. And then the cool part is that you get to play through the game or each level a second time from the other side. So you're looking at it from one side. The second time, you get to look at it from the other side, and you see the back of everything. So you see the back of all of the buildings that are built, and all of the platforms being held up by strings and tape, and are made of Cheerio boxes and all sorts of stuff. So you get to see the crafts nature of it from the other side. It's really quite cool. And there's also this other mechanic where these little robot guys at the beginning of each world will say like, "Hey, I want a fucking windmill. I want a fucking something." And you get to go through the levels, and you have to look in the background and the foreground to try to find that little thing in the background. So it really wants to keep you on your toes and keep you noticing like, okay, so there's this thing hiding behind these things that you can break, and you might need that later on if someone asks for it. So there's actually a lot of really cool aspects to this, and there's different kinds of level themes where you're controlling a big Yoshi with a mechanical fist, or you're riding on a dog, or like there's a lot of different cool stuff in the game, and it seems to be pretty long. I mean, I played probably 7 hours of it, and from my perspective, I should be almost done from a simple platformer perspective, but I'm like on the second world out of 6, so there's a lot of meat on this game's bones.
It certainly sounds it sounds like they really Nintendo really built this one to last with like the dual worlds, the both sides of it, and like the I Spy element, I guess you'd call that.
Yeah, exactly. Great comparison. Yeah. It is a game that I want to put a lot more time into. I had heard that it's a little bit repetitive. It's a little bit too simple, but I think that if you're focusing on the game in terms of enjoying its aesthetic, enjoying the world design and the amount of detail that went into crafting everything, fucking pun intended. But that's what really shines, and it's an incredible game in that regard. It's not a difficult platformer. It's a fucking Yoshi game. You're not gonna be super challenged, but
most challenging thing is running from the IRS.
Well, actually, the most challenging game is playing it in co-op. So I had my brother join me for a couple levels, and there's so much shit that you can mess each other up with. You can put the other person in your mouth and spit them out.
Classic
and
Yoshi move.
They have no say in that, so you can just out, and you can get out, but you have to like mash your controller to get out. You can have them ride your back, and the person on the back can throw infinite eggs, which is pretty cool. But you can easily mess each other up. Each Yoshi can have up to 6 eggs, so there's a lot of egg fucking going everywhere. You can block the other person from getting up onto a platform by standing on the edge and being a dick. But it's dumb fun, dumb co-op fun. Like, it's challenging because you're interacting with another person and you don't have complete control of the camera because you got to manage having both on the screen at once and stuff like that. But it's that kind of co-op fun that is both a great time, but also I could have gotten through those levels 3 times as fast without him fucking slowing me down and knocking me off cliffs and stuff. But it's a good game. I mean, I'm going to play a lot more of it. Tanner, any other games? Did you play anything else? Or is that it? Okay. Well, I think that brings us to the quote-unquote topic of the show.
Oh, yes.
Is Timo wants to talk about Cyberpunk.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it. We're recording this on a Tuesday evening. Tomorrow is Wednesday, December 9th. The Cyberpunk video game will come out in our time zone at 6 p.m. I haven't bought in the game yet. I haven't preloaded it, but
I've never bought in anything because that's not a word.
Well, I'm going to purchase this electronic storytelling medium, and then I'm going to use fancy technology to have it installed on my computer, but have it allow it to willingly lock me out until 6 p.m. tomorrow. It's like a chastity belt for Cyberpunk.
Indeed, it is.
That's what I always thought.
And has it happened the last 9 years been like a chastity belt for Cyberpunk?
I've only really been paying attention for 5 years, but like, who cares at that point? So yeah, this is like the biggest game of 2020 for me. Yeah, it's the most anticipated. It's the most hyped. And reviews have come out. So have you guys seen review aggregations on it yet?
I haven't seen any scores. I've seen a handful of headlines. Particularly one that sticks out that says Cyberpunk isn't edgy, it's dad rock. Which is potentially the worst insult you can levy at a Cyberpunk game.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, all I've seen is that it got. I saw the Metacritic, which is I think 91, or what was when I saw it. So it's good. But then I saw there's other scores that are kind of dragging that down because there seems to be some aspects of this game that are a little bit mixed.
Yeah, from what I've seen, like The Witcher 3, the game's going to be pretty buggy tomorrow when it launches, and even though a day one patch is coming
for it.
There's going to be some issues, and we can just hope they're not totally game breaking and we can laugh at them.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff. There's been some controversy about the brain dance mechanic in the game where you like go and you watch.
Oh, is this the seizure thing, the epilepsy thing?
It caused a reviewer to have an epileptic seizure while they want to happen because the game doesn't give you any options, warnings to turn that off, which is oversight and negligence on the part of CD Projekt. That is a legitimate thing. That's like people have been caring about epileptic seizures from visual media
for a long time,
fucking ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then there's some, there's controversy. I think the game is too hyped. I am very hyped for it, but it's you hype something up for so long, and like, what do you?
There's going to be disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I am going in from a completely different angle than any of the other ones. I think hype wise, it probably goes Timo, Abram, Tanner, me for order of hype. Timo, you've been waiting for this for years. Abram in the last couple weeks has been just fucking clawing his eyes out waiting for this game. And he fucking texts me in the middle of the night. He's like, I'm sweating. I can't wait for Cyberpunk. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. But I have seen a little bit of this game. Of course, I saw the Keanu Reeves reveal. I know the general concept. I know who CD Projekt Red is, but I have not seen anything about this game. I don't know any of the details about it. I just know tangentially people talking about it, their hype about it and what they know. So I'm going into this with no expectations.
Wow.
I was thinking a couple days ago when some of the first like reviews and people were like, oh, it's going to be so buggy. Like they were kind of hinting that it's bad, but then they were also giving that it's a 9 out of 10. So like,
yeah.
Okay, game reviewers, like I know I was like, I'm envious of you, Tucker. I kind of wish I could go into it blind or have like that anticipation, like, oh, this is going to be like really good, but like not know so much. So it's like a discovery process. At the same time, there's a ton of stuff I know. I did the videos for it, or the Night City Wires. So it's like, oh, there's fucking awesome looking cars in the game. Can't wait to drive those. There's there's cool music in the game. Can't wait to listen to that. Like I can't wait to have a cool gun and shoot it and like, all that.
Yeah.
So it's both sides of the coin.
For me, I think everything about this game sounds really high quality in terms of the world building, in terms of the depth of character customization.
The map is something like 2 times larger. 2 to 5 times larger than GTA 5.
Good gravy.
And it's apparently very dense. It's apparently very, very dense.
But so that all sounds great to me. I'm just worried about the gameplay of it.
Well, isn't that the case?
Yeah, even if it's just, like if there's bugs in the car driving, which I have seen a video of a terrible bug in the car driving. If there's bugs in the combat or the gunplay is kind of sloppy, if those sort of things happen, I don't know how much I'm going to get into this game because I played 7 hours of The Witcher 3, and I just don't care for that game's gameplay. I don't think that the combat or traversal or anything is very engaging, so I dropped out. They can put me in with Cyberpunk because I'm much more sci-fi oriented than fantasy, but I'm just worried that it's going to be a generic gameplay experience. But under the
how dare you call us generic, you son of a
under
bitch.
the code of paint of the fact that they put so much effort into everything surrounding it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not exactly worried about the gameplay. I mean, I will admit Witcher 3 combat wasn't like great. It was kind of, this is repetitive, what it was to me. But I would say my most point of contention and thing that I want to look out for, and I really is going to drive my opinion of the game, is how it deals with cyberpunk as a genre. I'm very well acquainted with cyberpunk as a genre. Abram and I both are. And I really like the genre for what it says about our current society. By that you mean
you've seen Blade Runner about a dozen times.
I've seen Blade Runner a dozen times. I've seen I've seen some more contemporary cyberpunk media, and then I've read a lot of cyberpunk books.
Oh, okay.
So
he's read theory.
I've read the theory on cyberpunk. Literally, I read Neuromancer by William Gibson.
I've heard of it.
Why the fuck would I know that?
Well, it's because it's the fundamental book of cyberpunk. It is the originator. The first, like, the color of the sky. The sky was tuned. The sky was the color of a TV tuned to a dead channel. Is how the book opens, and it sticks in my brain so well because it's such a good opening to.
That's a good line,
yeah. So I want to get to know and get a feel for how the game investigates these ideas of like cyberpunk is an anti-capitalist, anti-industrialist, like corporatist genre, and CD Projekt Red is a capitalist corporate company that makes the game.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Like, yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too, but you should. I expect the game to deal with these issues in a more than just a surface level. How do you deal with the idea of transhumanism? Is transhumanism like just a thing that's like, oh, cool, you can have a fucking robotic arm, cool, or is it like, oh, you have to have a robotic arm because if you don't have it, you won't be able to keep up at your job and they'll fire you, or you have to get a robotic arm because your workplace conditions are so unsafe that they crushed it and then you have to get it out of your own pocket or something like that. Like those are implications of aspects of the cyberpunk genre that are deeper, that really dig at societal problems, especially societal problems today. We live in a much more cyberpunk world than the writers of the 80s when the genre was being developed could imagine. Like, they would freak out about how the world is and how governments spy on us and how private corporations like Facebook and Google and stuff, and so how they look at our data and they know too much about us and they have control over governments, sort of. And I just am worried that the writing of the game isn't gonna do enough in regards to that.
Well, yeah, like Tucker said, if it's just wrapped in the aesthetic of the cyberpunk genre.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has a lot of aesthetic. It's a very popular aesthetic. I was actually reading an article a couple months ago about how cyberpunk fashion has become very popular in China. And yet the thing is that none of the people in China have ever read or seen any of the media that it is inspired from. And like the irony of Chinese, like these Chinese citizens wearing like sort of like quote unquote dystopian, like aesthetic dystopian techno clothes is in a literal like technocratic dystopia of China and of, you know, US too, and to a certain extent is just like completely lost on. They don't get that like this there's not a good thing that you're trying to rep here.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, it's interesting. Yeah.
I'm hopeful. They have the creator of Cyberpunk, Mike Pondsmith, who is a really intellectual dude who knows what he's talking about, on the writing team. So I'm hoping that he has some stuff in. We'll see how the game deals with representation. The whole there's
some complicated things with the character customization and pronouns that are used in the game that personally I'm not smart enough to understand, and I haven't read a lot of things about it, so I won't pretend to hold an opinion on it.
Yeah,
I can explain it in short. Basically, what the deal is that they program the way pronouns and dialogue works in the game early. And so then when they had some shit come out on Twitter where they had a social media manager use some anti-trans language, making, you know, there's like a couple tired old jokes like that. I don't think they made the exact like, oh, I identify as an attack helicopter, which is the class, but
good.
Like similar.
At least they didn't play into the literal meme.
It is similar to that. And then they like went ahead and tried to rectify it by making the character customization more free. But because they hadn't thought about it in the beginning, which they could have, the voice and the pronouns are tied together in terms of like how your character speaks and how your other characters speak to you. Which for
that's not something that can change. I mean, that doesn't. It's just like a text box.
I don't know anything about game development beyond the stuff that I learned. Like I don't know how to program, and so what I've heard is that it's difficult. It's something they really can't fix.
Is they would have to sort of re-record voice lines if a character is referring to themselves or something like that. Like if you choose a different pronoun. So like that is a pretty big thing, and obviously could have been not that bad if they had thought about it from the beginning, but the fact that they're so far in.
And then so the kicker is the thing that I've pointed out that a lot of people online have pointed out that I find is a little disheartening is you can have a non-binary character in COD Cold War as you go commit war crimes, and you can't have it in the future of Cyberpunk. So
yes.
We'll see. I saw something. I didn't get the huge importance of it about the Voodoo Boys clan, about how in the original game they were actually white, and it was like mocking these cultural appropriators of hackers and stuff. And in Cyberpunk, they're actually Haitian refugees in California. And so I was like, that's a bit of a change. But knowing that Pondsmith, the creator, is on board, has worked with CD Projekt in the writing and development of the game, I am still confident that it will do at least the basics right. We'll see how it gets into these progressive topics that I care about. I want the game to deal with or at least acknowledge and like, be, don't cause epileptic seizures, be friendly to LGBTQ people, like those are base level stuff.
Yeah, me. That's it.
I really expect at least that much from a game company being developed. And so let's hope that it's there. Let's hope that the stuff of the story content, there's that trans character in the marketing in an in-game ad that was a little questionable. It was fine originally, and then some stuff happened online with it that the company kind of took it in a little questionable direction of like, how do you represent trans people? They definitely exist. You have them existing in your world. It's a very transhumanist thing to think about, actually. It's literally in the name, right? So it's definitely a more cyberpunk topic to discuss. I just hope, if I'm going to boil this whole long rant down into one thing, I really hope there's a lot of punk in my cyberpunk.
Well, let's hope.
We can only hope. We'll find out. I'm going to play the hell out of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get it. You see, we're about 11 hours away as we're recording this, so. the countdown has been going for a long time, and I'm excited.
I'm sure as I'm sitting in the recording studio at work, reading the weather for the local area, I'll have. I wonder what the
Cyberpunk
weather is in
mind.
Night City right now.
Well, it's 8 a.m. here in the Great White North, and the sky is the color of a TV turned to static.
It actually will be.
What is it? What?
That'd be funny. But I mean, look, Cyberpunk tomorrow. I have essentially avoided all discussion of the game, but that's kind of exciting for me. I mean, this game has been getting fucking trailers and details and stuff since the beginning of the last generation of fucking consoles.
Since the beginning of known history of humankind, they've been hinting at this video game.
Yes. But I mean, like, I'm just interested to go fresh-faced into all this, and essentially, I'm gonna be the fucking litmus test, right? I'm the baseline for this.
He's the baby.
Wait, is litmus test the right fucking phrase? I don't even know.
It's certainly a thing that people say.
Yeah, I'm the fucking baseline for this, and I'm going in without the high expectations, without knowing what's going to happen, and so I'll be able to tell you, okay, you might be a little bit hyped for this, but actually it has issues, or this part that you didn't think about because it's been drilled into your head so much is actually really cool, and you should probably consider it a little more. So I'm more excited to try the game now than I was 2 days ago. As it's approaching, and as I'm realizing that I will have access to it, I'm gonna try it, and I'll be here for the Cyberpunk discussions. I thought that, hey, I'm gonna be away from the PS5, so I'm not gonna play it, but I'll just play it on my PS4. No, it's built to run on it.
Yeah, we will see about that.
And I'll be able to give the commentary on that. I mean, if it doesn't run on that base hardware, that's not a good thing, because the majority of players are going to be playing it on those older consoles. But
quick, I just want to know for my own hype, Tanner, what's your setup at the beginning of the game? Have you about the Nomad Corpo Street Kid? What are you running? What's your character idea to start the game off in your first run?
Listen, I haven't put a lot of thought into it. I usually, like with Skyrim, I do that immediately as the character customization comes up. And I like to build a character at that point. So I sit in that menu for roughly 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay. I might hijack the BLB channel and do a little character creative stream.
Wow. Oh, that sounds fucking great. I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Not that I'll watch it, but I'm glad it's happening.
Just to answer my own question, Tanner, I'm definitely
yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna build a character that I feel is true to myself. I'm gonna play myself in the game, I think.
Interesting.
Okay. I did think about that a little bit today. Is if I want to make my character just a boring white guy like myself.
Yeah.
I mean, so Timo's going to create the perfect human man,
Yeah.
Peak physical performance, everything.
Well, I realized I was like, I hate corporations, damn it. I can't play as the corporation on the first time because this is icky. Feels like I'm covering myself in slime.
Oh, I do kind of remember the when that first broke the
life paths is what they were calling them.
I mean, obviously you got to go with the punk side. You can't side yourself with the suits.
Yeah, well, how did you do that? I'm gonna do Nomad because that just seems interesting to be the outsider.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, that kind of actually fits a little more into other RPG stereotypes, like you're the outsider character. Nobody.
So they have to explain everything to you.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know anything about the differences between these, and I guess I'll just be sitting down and fucking reading all the
finding
words.
out. You will read the word and have to decide, and I won't even tell you what they mean because I don't want to ruin your situation. You are a blessed man, Tucker.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Little baby face Tucker
with my fresh cut.
Your fresh cut is a good fresh cut. I like it very much.
It actually does look good. So here's the thing. I don't mind my hair long and I don't mind my hair short. I think I look good both ways.
Yeah.
So when my mom's like, fucking get a haircut, or like people tell me to get a haircut, I'm like, I don't know, I think I look good, but I also look good now. So
I got to get a haircut too, but I don't want to go to a barbershop up here in this freaking hellhole of COVID land in Minnesota.
Yeah. Okay, well, anything else we want to talk about video game wise?
No.
I don't really have much.
We've peaked with as with the video game industry, we have peaked with Cyberpunk 2077.
It's going to be all downhill starting tomorrow.
Oh hell yeah! All right, and on that note, I think we're done with BLB for the week. We will be back next week. Honestly, you know what?
Is it us back next week?
Here's the thing. Abram's not back. Why don't we do a special episode of BLB that is entirely cyberpunk themed?
I ESP'd him right into your brain. You got the words exact.
So we're going to be back for that next week. Please check that out. I'm interested, to say the least, about what our discussion is going to go like. But I'm here for all of this content. I'm down to do, cyberpunk updates, talking about our stuff. We could do a little side cyberpunk show if we want to. But that's how it's going to roll. So thank you very much for watching this, guys. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys. It went better than I thought it would. I'm not gonna lie, but
we're not idiots completely.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing. This is good content. So, and I think this is actually the longest episode of BLB.
Wow. You add another person. Well,
that's true. That's true. Actually, there we go.
If you've made it this far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, because we're a little tiny little channel and we like making this stuff. And it's nice to see that other people like watching it too.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 169 right now.
It warms our cold, dead little hearts. So
you're supposed to say nice, you fuckers.
I refuse.
Nice.
Nope.
Fuck you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
So long. Zorba is single-handedly responsible for my infatuation with peanut butter.